Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss movies and horror. And today I'm finally here to talk to you about The Exorcist Believer.
It's coffee time!
Now, I have been very open about my opinions on David Gordon Green and what he did with the Halloween franchise and how he destroyed it for me. You can enjoy the movies and love them, nothing wrong with that. I thought Halloween from 2018 was fine, and then everything went downhill from there. So I was quite scared to have him direct this movie because this is a franchise that I truly cherish. Mostly because of the first film. Obviously, it is one of the first ever horror movies that I saw on a VHS tape, and it had an impact on me. And I think the movie was so amazing for its time. And if you rewatch it nowadays, it still has the same amazing vibe, and I still recommend people to check it out if you've never seen the original. So, I like the Halloween movies, but I've never been a hardcore fan. So even though it hurt me that he destroyed that franchise, I was scared that he was gonna do the same to The Exorcist. But I knew also that I had to go and watch it. So I'm here to let you guys know my honest opinions on the movie. So let's dive into it, and as always, it's going to be spoiler free. The Exorcist Believer is the first movie in a promised trilogy that it's supposed to kind of reboot the franchise, but it serves as a direct sequel to the 1973 original The Exorcist. It has been directed and the screenplay was co-written by David Gordon Green. It is the 6th installment in the franchise, and as I said, it's supposed to be a direct sequel to the first movie from '73. As you can see by the trailer, this one follows not one but two girls that are possessed by a demon, and then our main characters are gonna have to figure out a way to exorcise that demon. Now, as a personal opinion, I don't think that they had to spend 400 million to get the rights to do this trilogy. I think it is a waste of money if you ask me. 400 million could have been invested on giving projects to other people with creative new ideas, like the brothers that did Talk to Me. I would love for them to have done something like that instead of rebooting again a franchise, but that's just my opinion. When his daughter Angela and her friend Catherine show signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces a single father, Victor Fielding, to confront the evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris MacNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like this before. We follow two very different families that have very different pasts, that come from very different backgrounds, but their daughters are friends. And one day after school, they decide to go into the woods and they disappear. They are reported as missing person. They are gone for a total of 3 days when they reappear again, and they have no memory of what happened to them. On top of that, obviously, regular doctors and regular medicine is not gonna be able to figure out what's going on with these girls. We, the audience, obviously know or assume that they are possessed because of the type of story that we're getting. We know we're getting into an exorcism movie, so you kind of already know that something might have happened in the woods, and that's why now they are possessed. These two young girls are apparently possessed by the same demon, and it is really interesting to see also how the families react differently to the situation. And I like that they offer two different families with very different views of life and everything. I just feel like they did not focus on both families with the same emphasis. I feel like they show so much of Victor and his daughter, the past, and we don't really get to know so much about the other family, which I thought was a shame, because if you're gonna have two girls being possessed, I think it would have been great to really understand fully where they both come from, their families, and dig a little bit deeper into the other girl's family as well. Ellen Burstyn comes back as Chris MacNeil, and she has more of a legacy cameo. It's just like she's there because she was in the first movie, but if you remove her character completely from this movie, it doesn't change the outcome. It doesn't change much at all of what happened. So Was it necessary? I mean, as a fan of the original, of course you love to see her on screen in an Exorcism movie, especially because it's supposed to be a sequel, but was it really necessary? I think not, to be honest. The things that I like is that you can tell that they have truly studied the first original movie and they have really tried to bring that vibe with this one. There's a lot when it comes to the cinematography and the way that they use sound that you know that they have been studying that first movie. So in that sense, this movie really works well as a sequel because it feels like it has a connection to that movie, and not just because of Chris McNeil, also because of the way the movie is shot and presented. However, I thought the movie was very compelling at the beginning. I would say the first act really worked well for me. I was really interested to get to know the characters and to see what was going to happen. But as the movie went on and on, I felt myself losing interest in what was going on, to the point that I was actually completely not engaged anymore even before the actual exorcism happened. I think this is something that happens with some movies that are trying to have way too many main characters and it gets a little bit overcrowded. And at some point you just have a bunch of people, you probably only know well one or two of them, and it's really hard to keep a movie compelling when you have so many different characters. It's almost like these huge superhero movies like Endgame, there's just so much going on everywhere with everyone, and I feel like this movie would have benefited from cutting down on characters. The sounds are quite gentle, I would say. For the majority of the movie, you don't have like big music and sounds that are interrupting things, which I really enjoyed. And you also get a kind of like a different take on the classic tune from The Exorcist, from the original one, that of course always brings back a lot of good memories and nostalgia. With the horror, something similar happened to where the story was going, which is I was excited at the beginning and then I started to lose my interest because there was some tension at the beginning and I was excited about some shots that happened at the beginning when it comes to the horror. And then they kind of lost me with the tension. I was not like worried anymore. I was not really engaged with everything that was going on. I didn't really care what happened to these girls. So, and that tells me that the tension for me was just not there. I did like the makeup transition that they did when it comes to the possessed girls, and I think the actresses both did a really good job. There are many good shots and moments where the girls are possessed and they can be intense and well shot. Probably more than other exorcism movies, but I did not find anything at all in the movie truly scary. Some of my favorite horror moments in the movie happened at the beginning when the girls were just possessed and went back home to their parents. There are some moments where something happens almost really on the background and you have to be paying attention to see it. And those were really good, creepy moments, but they were kind of interrupted by a sound. And I hate when that happens because you have such a good shot that is gonna make people gasp and then you interrupt it and the magic is gone. So I don't know, those are things that I enjoy, but at the same time I didn't like the way it was like fully executed, but that might just be me. I'm just not a fan of, you know, trying to always go for a jump scare with music or, you know, loud sounds and stuff. And this movie did that a couple of times. I think in these scenes, silence would have been our best friend. Now, this movie is R-rated, and I think there are some scenes that can be considered a bit intense for an exorcism movie, but I think they could have even pushed it a bit further. And there are some scenes where I felt like there was a missed opportunity there. There is a moment where one of the girls is possessed and walking down an aisle in a church, and I thought they were gonna do something crazy with her. I thought that she was gonna do something, and nothing really happened. It's like you have this beautiful shot and you could just do something crazy with it and shock us and surprise us, and they didn't. And I don't know, those moments just left me so unfulfilled as a horror fan for some reason, but they might work for someone else. That's also true. Now, the most important scene in an exorcism movie is obviously the exorcism part and how they are trying to vanish the evil, the demon from inside of these girls. And the exorcism scene in this movie was a mess. It was messy. And part of it is again because we have way too many characters in that room. It just gets too convoluted, and I could not care less about these girls at this point. And I'm so sorry. And I know they tried to do something different, and the ending might not be something that everybody enjoyed. I was not mad at the ending or anything. I think my biggest problem was that the horror didn't quite work for me. I thought the film dragged a lot, and I didn't like having all of these different characters mushed in together. I don't know, it was just a messy movie for me. So at the end of the day, you guys, I gave this one a 2 out of 5. I think they had good intentions, good ideas. There are some really good shots in the film, but in general, it was a disappointment for me. There were too many characters, subplots, and things going on, and they lost me in the second act. So when we got to the third act and the exorcism, I was ready to go home. Like, I was like, I'm done with this. And it might be just me. I don't want to be too harsh on the film. I know a lot of people in the community have really enjoyed it, and you know, I'm happy for you. I have nothing against people saying they love it, same as people saying they hate it. You know, it's their personal choice, it's their personal opinion. I know so many people in the community are kind of like going against each other a little bit now because of this film, and I think it's not necessary, you know. Just allow people to enjoy the movie if they did. If they didn't, then accept that they didn't enjoy it. And that's it. And then we move on. No, there's always been movies that we've loved or hated. And, you know, just stop fighting, okay? Stop fighting about it. Do I want David Gordon Green to make another Exorcist movie? No. And hopefully that won't happen. But I know that there's a trilogy planned. And if there is a second movie, I'll probably go and watch it. And I would watch it not because I'm looking forward to it, but because I am part of the horror community and I love to be up to date as much as I can. And also, if I'm gonna say something negative about something, I have to either watch it, read it, like I need to have consumed that before I can really speak about it. That's my opinion. And then if I still didn't like it, then I can share why. But I know a lot of people also hated on this movie before they even went to see it. I didn't say I'm gonna hate it. I said I'm scared because I don't know if this director is gonna have the vision that I want for a sequel to The Exorcist, which is a movie that I love. And I went scared to watch this movie, but I tried to keep an open mind. And as I said, I did enjoy the first act. The first part, I was on board. I was, you know, willing to see where it was going. I was open-minded. The horror started kind of okay, but then things just took a turn and it ended up being a disappointment for me. But, you know, you gotta give these movies a chance. At least they deserve it. And yeah, wow, I was rambling for a long time there. But, you know, I've seen many people in the community fighting each other in comments and stuff about this movie, and it's just simply not worth it. It's just a movie. So love it or hate it, and let everybody that loved it enjoy it, all right? Anyways, you guys, hope you enjoyed this review and a small rant for you at the end, bonus. Let me know down below if you've watched the movie, if you're a fan of the original, what you thought of it. Let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye.